A film called Wonder Woman, whose main character is called Wonder Woman, and yet you don't really hear the phrase Wonder Woman uttered through this film. Wonder Woman 1984, also abbreviated as WW84, which I'm sure is harder to say, is a 2020 American superhero film based on DC Comics character Wonder Woman. The film is set in 1984, obviously, during the Cold War, and it follows Diana as her past love, Steve Trevor, comes back to life. However, the means that he's come back to life, a stone, has been stolen by Maxwell Lord, who is giving wishes to everybody, and Steve and Diana must make the ultimate sacrifice to try and save the world. When the film was released, it got mixed reviews compared to the original film. So what was wrong with the film? Well, here we go. Let's talk about 10 things wrong with Wonder Woman 1984. Number 10, childhood. So this is the fourth outing for Gal Gadot's version of Wonder Woman, and she does do a good job. However, it is also the third time we have seen her childhood. The only film we didn't see her childhood was in Batman v Superman. Yes, that film did something right, but all the other outings, you have Wonder Woman, we have her flashbacks. Now that was an origin story, that was fine. Justice League, we had flashbacks again to her childhood. Why? Why did we need it? And then same again, we've got it again in this film. We don't need it. We've seen her childhood. We don't need to be seeing her childhood every single film. If we do a third film, no childhood, please. Number 9, time between films. So the first film is set during the latter stages of World War I, and this film obviously is set in 1984. Why? I think Stranger Things has something to do with that because they have made the 80s look cool. Okay, it worked in Stranger Things, but you've got a 70-year age gap between these two films. You've got World War II. Bizarrely enough, that's where Wonder Woman started off, so you could have had some adventures in World War II. You could have had the swinging 60s. That would have been fun. That would have been 50 years, and I probably still moaned, but it wouldn't have been as bad as 70 years. I think they missed a massive opportunity there. Number 8, hung up. So by the time this film starts, Steve Trevor has been dead for near enough 70 years, and she's still hung up on him. I don't quite believe that. They were only together for a few months. Yes, I know he was her first love, but still, 70 years hung up and she's never moved on. Really? I didn't no, that just didn't sink in with me. Maybe that's because I'm a bloke. Number 7, female villain stereotypes. You would think with Patty Jenkins behind the helm, the woman who is behind any empowering female film would do something different with a female villain, but she doesn't. Cheetah, when she first appears as Barbara, she is basically a uncool, unfunny klutz. Just like every other female villain you get. Look at Batman Returns. What an appalling villain. Why? I mean, she turns into something great, but same again, it's stereotypical. Do something different. I mean, Catwoman had a fantastic, strong female lead. Another appalling film I'm giving praise to. Do something different. Number 6, Maxwell Lord. In the comics, Maxwell Lord is a genius. He is an entrepreneur, successful businessman. He is brilliant. Granted, he's very selfish and predominantly a bad guy, but he is brilliant. This film portrays Maxwell Lord as a loser, complete and utter opposite. This film also portrays that he came from an abusive background. No, he didn't. He came from a very loving family. Did they just use a completely different character, one that I can't actually find, and just stuck Maxwell Lord in because he's a bigger name? No, it was a completely wrong character. It could have still worked with a successful Maxwell Lord, but no, once again, you've just got Maxwell Lord as a loser, and I didn't exactly like him. Number 5, Steve Trevor's arrival. According to the trailers, the biggest focus of this film is the fact that Steve Trevor is back from the dead. In fact, we were told this before the film started filming, that Steve Trevor is back from the dead. That's the main focus, well, according to all the press and marketing. Except he doesn't turn up to the 45-minute mark. In a 2.5-hour film, there goes a quarter of your film, and he's not in it. Misleading? Possibly. But I was expecting and looking forward to him appearing in this film, and we didn't get it. Well, we did, just later than I wanted. Number 4, repeating the first film. One of the main themes from the first film is discovery. Diana, or Wonder Woman's joy and baby-like finding out what the world was really like. And it was brilliant, it was very well done. And it was one of the most successful things from the film. So what do they do with this film? Well, let's repeat it, shall we? Instead of being Diana, it was Steve looking at a world anew with this new baby-faced, fresh-faced look at the world. He thinks it's amazing. I think it was boring because we already did that in the last film. Number 3, lack of Wonder Woman. I'm not talking about what I said at the beginning of this video, I'm actually talking about a lack of Wonder Woman. Literally. Now, she's in the beginning part briefly as a montage where she's in a mall beating up some bad guys. Great, fine. And then we don't see Wonder Woman until the 1 hour, 20-minute mark. And that was only a couple of minutes long. And then we don't see her again until the 1 hour, 45-minute mark. This is a 2.5 hour film about Wonder Woman, and you hardly see Wonder Woman. Why do filmmakers do this? Right, we've got a superhero. Let's not put the superhero in as much. Let's face it, we're all fanboys. We want to see the superhero. Number 2, golden armour. Another thing from the presses and marketing is the fact that she's wearing this beautiful golden armour, which is briefly touched upon in the film, and she doesn't wear it until the last 20 minutes of the film. You've just given away a brilliant plot twist. It would have worked, it would have been fantastic, but the fact that you actually stuck it in the posters and in the trailers, rather than letting it develop naturally and us as audience thinking, wow, that's amazing, we were like, oh, it took that long? No, stop giving us too much in trailers, please. Number 1, endings. Now this is actually a 2 for 1 because there's 2 things about the ending I'm not really happy with. First of all, the final fight between Wonder Woman and Maxwell Lord. What fight? Especially as he's actually absorbing all this energy saying, I want your health. So he's pretty much immortal, he can heal just like that. I would have liked to have seen a fight between him and Wonder Woman. That would have been great. And then go on to how she defeats him by talking to the rest of the world. But yeah, at least show us some of the power that he actually got. That would have been amazing. But also the final scene, as much as it was nice, it didn't really, I don't know, it just didn't pay off anything. Now, she's come to terms with Steve's death, finally after 70 years. She's flirting with the bloke who Steve's inhabited his body. That was a bit weird. And then that was it. Now, we had a brief scene that Maxwell Lord reunited with his son, okay, but what happened with Barbara? Does she go back to being nice? Does she redo her friendship with Diana? I mean, that was put throughout the film, that Diana wanted to be friends with this woman, and there was no payoff to it. And yeah, the ending was missing a lot. Final thoughts. So here we go, my actual thoughts and review of the film. The film itself is actually okay. It's very beautifully done, and the music, once again, is absolutely phenomenal. But I don't know, it was a very stereotypical superhero film. There was nothing to it. Now, normally I am a fan of keeping things simple if it's done right. Now, this was kept simple and not done right. The first hour of this film could have been condensed so much shorter, making it from a 2.5 hour film to a 2 hour film. It would have worked a little bit better, and you could have kept the simpleness and it would have worked. But you made it too in-depth for something simple, and it did feel like it was missing something. Now, when it comes to the casting, Pedro, who plays Maxwell Lord, he's brilliant as the Mandalorian, he was brilliant in Game of Thrones. I don't know, there was something just not quite charming and charismatic about his performance as Maxwell Lord. I didn't quite buy into it. He's a brilliant actor, but I don't think this wasn't the best of his abilities in this role. Another person, Kristen Wiig. Now, Kristen Wiig is always in these slapstick comedies where it's all OTT, and it's something that I'm not a big fan of. So when I heard that she had been cast and playing Cheetah, I was like, I'm not really convinced about this. But you know what? She pulled it out of the park. Kudos to the casting director for giving her the opportunity to actually really act, and she knocked it out of the park, and she was credible, and a credible threat, and a believable threat as well. Not something I personally could have seen Kristen Wiig actually doing. Hopefully this will actually give her some better roles in the future, and we don't see her in slapstick comedies every 5 seconds. But yeah, overall, there was just something missing with the film. It's beautifully done, just something not quite right there. So I'm actually going to give this a 6. 6 out of 10 berries. I'm going to get slated for this, aren't I? If you hate me for it, please put your rating in the comments below. Don't just say you're wrong or this is a good film. Put your ratings. If you want to get in touch with me, just search for @Berryman81. I'm on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on TikTok. I don't really do that much film stuff over on TikTok. But other than that, I haven't decided what film I'm doing next week, so come back next week to find out 10 things wrong with another film. Take care. Bye-bye.